Since March 27 last year, in the wake of the Ruby Princess disaster, where 600 people contracted COVID but were allowed to walk free, all foreign flag cruise ships have been banned from Australian waters. This week, a 200-page document by the Inspector General of Biosecurity came to light. That suggests it was the federal government's Agriculture Department that erred in allowing passengers to disembark the Ruby Princess. In the meantime, the cruise industry is readying itself to try to be allowed to restart operations. Carnival Cruise Line and P&O Australian President Sture Myrmell joins me now. Sture, many thanks for your time. Great to have you on the program. I just want to take you to a couple of bits and pieces here. The first is in regards to trying to ready yourself to have the ships return. I mean, you're going to have to really build confidence in the community after Ruby Princess that it's safe, that people are not going to get, sort of any coronavirus outbreaks. But the confidence, importantly, has got to be with the government, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's true. And thanks for having me, Miraz. I think our approach with both state and federal governments has been to reassure them that we've done the work, that we have the protocols and the measures in place to safely restart cruise operation here in Australia. And now that the government has announced their four-phase plan, cruise needs to be part of that four-phase plan. And as the vaccine levels increase and pick up pace around the country, there's no reason why cruise can't be part of that. We have restarted operation in many parts around the world, and we can do so here.
OK, but the conditions for people to travel on cruise ships, for people to work on cruise ships, they have to be pretty onerous because quite clearly we've seen this, that outbreaks can occur on cruise ships and they're pretty serious.
Yeah, no, that's a fair comment. I think we've spent the last 18 months developing some very strong protocols for how to manage and how to operate within the COVID environment. We have also just announced that we require all of our guests and all of our crew to be vaccinated to be able to sail on our ships. And that plan is in line with the government's plan of reopening the economy once we reach certain vaccination levels. We want to provide confidence to our past guests, to the community and to the government that cruising can safely resume. And the response to that policy statement has been overwhelmingly positive. For many people, it was the news that they were waiting for. And it's not a surprise to us. Our own internal research shows that 90% of our past guests either have been vaccinated or intend to get vaccinated.
See, it's interesting because you're saying mandatory vaccinations for staff, which means 2 vaccinations, of course, and also for guests. Even Qantas isn't domestically going that far to insist that its own passengers have to be fully vaccinated to be able to go on domestic flights. International flights, yes, of course.
Yeah, no, we've taken the position that we need to go over and above to provide confidence that we can safely return to operation. And vaccinating both passengers and crew is part of providing that confidence.
OK, so then when would you expect, in all likelihood, that we'd see the first ships arrive in Australia? I mean, you've got Qantas now saying it believes it can start the travel internationally from December this year. Is that about the time that you think that cruise ships could start arriving back on our shores?
For us to get a ship operational and back to Australia, it'll take about 3 months to achieve that. So we need to have serious dialogue with government now and come up with a plan, come up with a roadmap to get us back into operation. Our restart timeline is probably a bit longer than some of the airlines, and that's why it's important to agree on the framework for the resumption of operation here in Australia.
And how many ships initially do you think you'd bring back to Australia? Would you bring back the full fleet of ships that was here before the coronavirus hit?
No, we will bring them back gradually. We will start with 1 or 2 ships in the key markets, demonstrate that we have the protocols in place and that we can safely operate. The plan is to start with intrastate travel, then interstate, and as Australia establishes a travel bubble more internationally, we will then merge into that. But it's important to note that we are talking about Australian cruising for Australian residents to Australian destinations.
And finally, a quick one is that do you believe there's a strong demand from the Australian public to go cruising again?
Yeah, there is a tremendous amount of pent-up demand out there. We hear from our guests all the time. They can't wait to get back to sea. We just need some certainty. Many people have had their holidays cancelled several times in the last 18 months, and we just need a roadmap. We need a plan. We need the restart date, and the demand is definitely there.
Yeah, Sture Myrmell, President of Carnival in Australia. I appreciate your time today on the program.
Thank you, Ross.